Is Stone Cold Steve Austin really going to make a comeback? Welcome back, everyone. This is Jason. Well, there's the audio from a recent podcast he did back in August. And honestly, why this is all coming to the surface now is really surprising to me because, maybe it's because it was so cut and dried. He didn't expand on it. Maybe it was because the person who was in the podcast with him wasn't that popular, so maybe it didn't get noticed as much. Um, I listened to a majority of that podcast, and I forgive me, I didn't write down the name of the gentleman who it was with. It's a guy who was a wrestler and a bodybuilder, and the conversation surrounding that little bit of audio, they're talking about steroid use and hitting the gym. Now, obviously, it's not to the effect that Stone Cold Steve Austin is taking steroids. No, that's not it at all. This gentleman who he was speaking with talked about his steroid use and how much he uses, and then how much he works out at the gym and his wrestling career and all that pertains. It's all surrounding in this podcast. Um, so the big question here. Oh, there's a couple of big questions. The big question is, was he serious about it? Did is he really trying to get in shape for a comeback, or um, was he joking about it? Um, I think I think this coming WrestleMania or possibly the next one would be even more appropriate for him, seeing as he's from Dallas, or say in Dallas, so wherever it is in Texas. He's from Texas. It's I don't remember where the WrestleMania 32 is going to be. It's somewhere in Texas. Um, he's been staying in shape. He certainly could. Uh, then, of course, right along with that, you gotta wonder if if he comes back, who's he gonna face? Well, after a few of these little news things I've been poking up here and there, I put a poll on ringsidenews.com. You can go there and check it out if you like, and go vote on it if you want. Um, if Stone Cold Steve Austin really does make a comeback, who would he face? And I threw out four names that I thought would be legit contenders for him, or competitors for him. Um, Number one being John Cena. Um, he's faced everyone and anyone, and the fact that he he put the challenge out to Undertaker, a few years back, leading up to WrestleMania 30. Well, that obviously didn't happen. He faced Brock Lesnar. So if that didn't happen, you know, what other big legends are there for John Cena to cash in on? Well, Stone Cold would certainly be one of those. But I don't want to stray off the topic to, other guys that Cena could face soon. Next, who was Stone Cold Steve Austin's greatest opponent? In my opinion, I'd say The Rock. Um, I went on the network, was it yesterday or the day before, and I was looking at WrestleMania. what is it, 19? Whenever Stone Cold had his last match with The Rock, um, and that promo that they play, leading up to the match before they both came out, man, I had goosebumps watching that. Man, I forgot how awesome that was. Sometimes you got to go revisit that stuff. It's good, it's great, but man, that was that was a really great time. That was like right in that what did they call it? The ruthless aggression. Uh, yeah, gonna have to go back and check out that feud some more. They had some really good matches together. They really did. And The Rock is in great shape. Um, shoot, I'm recording this right before Monday Night Raw, and The Rock just posted a picture on Twitter a few hours ago saying that he's in New York where Raw is. So there's a couple of rumblings about that. Maybe he might show up on Raw tonight. I don't know, maybe. But he's in New York and he's working out, and he loves posting these pictures of himself working out. Oh my God! Well, his arms are like what, this big, when he's working out. But to sum that up, The Rock is in great shape. Yeah, he was hurt after his match with John Cena, and apparently it was, I don't remember exactly what the injury was, but yeah, he fought through it and he finished the match. So The Rock can still go. The Rock is in great shape. Um, so John Cena, The Rock, who else? Hulk Hogan. That is one match that I think some fans wanted to see. Two of the biggest champions of all time. One from the '80s, one from the '90s, clashing together. Because we saw Hogan and The Rock. That was great. That was really a good rivalry. Um, two ring icons right there. And I guess the whole thing was set up to happen at some point. It just never did. I don't know if it was egos that got in the way, or you know, writers just couldn't put it together. I don't know what it was. An article came out, was it within the last month? It's something to the effect of that Hulk Hogan has a major beef with Stone Cold, and because he wanted that match with him, and apparently Hogan's been telling everyone and anyone that he's getting in shape for a comeback as well. Um, you know, God bless Hulk, man. He may have that leather skin and whatever, but man, he's you know built wise, he's still in pretty good shape. You know, he's a little off when it comes to promos in the ring. He fudged up a little bit at WrestleMania. Talking about the Silver Dome or whatever it was. Uh, but yeah, two older guys like that in the ring. As long as they're in shape and as long as they book it okay, I think it could work. Is Hogan really up for a last match? I don't know. He's gone through. I joked once in a while because I've had a few back surgeries myself. He's had what, 9 or 10 back surgeries. Jeez Louise, how the hell is the guy still walking? Seriously, That's crazy. That's really nuts. I don't know. His Hogan's last match he had in the ring was the Nature Boy Ric Flair, and that was when they were both still in TNA, and it was a train wreck. It really was. Um, so obviously you're not going to see some big technical bout in the ring with these guys. You're going to see a classic wrestling match it's going to be what it's going to be. It's not going to be like, it's not going to win match of the year awards, or maybe it will because of who's in the ring, but wrestling wise, you know what I mean. So yeah, you've got that option. You got Hulk Hogan. Um, Last but not least, well, I shouldn't say last because I got one other name on here that I'll touch on at the end. But as far as the ones that I put on the poll on the ringsidenews.com, the fourth name I put on there was CM Punk. When the media started happening for um, the wrestling game, the WWE 13, um, they both sat down in an interview together with JR, promoting the game and also talking about them being on the covers and um, the potential for you could play as both those guys and fight each other in the ring. Well, then the question arises, could these two go toe to toe in the ring together? I say hell yeah. Now, of course, that would mean that CM Punk would have to come back. I could tell fans watching this are already, no, screw Punk. He left. He's a quitter. Blah, blah, blah. We hate this. We hate you for even mentioning his name. Whatever. There'd be just that many fans, screaming and bitching about him leaving. And the second he shows up on a Monday Night Raw to make a comeback, they'd be like, oh my God, I knew he was going to come back. I'm so happy he's back. You would. Don't tell me you wouldn't, because I know you would. Everybody that turned their back on him would be, jumping right back on the bandwagon again. I'm not stupid. I'm not happy he left, but if he came back, hey, great. It's one of those. Yeah, it's good for business. Stephanie McMahon even said in a recent interview, never say never. And then she went on Raw and called him a quitter, but that's just to get heat from the crowd. So yeah, that is CM Punk ever going to come back? I don't know. I don't think he will, but there's a little bit of hope in the back of my mind. Yeah, that'd be cool. Because he is great in the ring. He's one of the best in my opinion. Love him or hate him, I still think CM Punk versus Stone Cold Steve Austin would be a hell of a match. And then I was trying to think of other names that you could throw in the hat for that. And there really aren't too many. There really aren't. Stone Cold said he's not going to come back unless it's worth it. So obviously, A, the money's going to be on the table, and B, it's got to be, they're not going to throw him in the ring with Fandango or something like that, The only other name I jotted down here on this list, Goldberg. When you think back to the Attitude Era, as far as fantasy matches back at that time, I know there's a lot of people, including myself, that wanted, well, I wasn't as much into the WWE as I was into WCW, but the more I read the magazines and the more I, started going back and forth, between the two shows, um, yeah, that is certainly one match I was hoping for. Goldberg's still in shape, and I know he's been asked about it. I don't remember exactly what the content was of those interviews that he's had with people, what he's said. Um, I know he's talked about possibly doing it because now his kids are watching his old matches on TV. You got to wonder if Goldberg bought the WWE network. You know, now his kids are watching it. I don't know, but so yeah, that's another name that I would certainly throw in that hat to make a comeback. You know, one last match. Uh, that'd be something I'd like to see. Me personally, I don't know how many others, but I'm certain that would carry on. I'm sure some fans would still want to see that. And I really can't think of too many others off the top of my head, um, other than possibly another, like that same. I believe it was that same WrestleMania where Hogan wrestled Vince McMahon at 19, and Piper came out, and interfered, and they both got bloody as hell, and um, so you got to wonder, one of the greatest rivalries back in the Attitude Era was Vince McMahon and Stone Cold Steve Austin, the worker versus the boss. Um, so could those two go at it in a ring? I don't know. Yeah, that rivalry went on for so long, but it was well done. That would mean Vince McMahon would have to come back. I don't think he's up for that. I really don't. I don't think he's in the shape he was back then. He's a lot more frail now. He's starting to show his age big time. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Those are four, five, whatever, guys that I would throw in the hat to possibly beat Stone Cold Steve Austin in the ring, either at this coming WrestleMania or possibly the following one. Either one, I'd be happy for it. He's one of my favorites. I think it'd be great. Obviously, you can't just throw guys in the ring. It's got to be booked well. It's you have to do it well. Um, so, what are your thoughts on this? Giant question. If he's going to come back or not, and if he does come back, who do you face in the ring? Put it in the comments below. Let me know what you think. All right. Thanks for watching, guys.